morning, Chuck. Good morning. Good morning, Jonathan. Good morning. We just, you know, something. The head coach and the dad, they always have an argument on Saturday morning, just for right before we go on the air.
Well, yes, because you start the show earlier and earlier each week.
So this morning, Chuck, this morning, my friend, I am drinking my orchard coffee. We're we didn't. I did not set up Studio B in there. We're all out here together this morning, and you're drinking your orchard coffee. And what blend did we send you?
Was it Blue Mountain or
Yep. I think we're drinking Blue Mountain blend this morning,
I love
and
it.
and you know,
But I want to try that El Diamante, the Reds. Oh, the description of it. Oh man, get me a pack of that.
we're working on that because here in the next week or two, we're probably going to have the show live from Orchard Coffee. That's at 39 Depot Street in Waynesville. And Chuck, before we get going, John, before we get going, let me get some of this stuff here. I want people to know. Coffee, up or down? Yes. Espresso. I don't think you or Jonathan either one need espresso.
Yes, we do.
That is not a good combination for you two.
It's a phenomenal combination.
Cappuccino, latte. I can get latte and make it with this coffee here because I can put all my sugar-free stuff in it, and this is really good.
Why do you get the good stuff?
Because I just put my sugar-free stuff. The same stuff.
How do me and Chuck get left out of the lattes?
You and Chuck are just, you guys are a different breed. And also, real quick, before we get in to the show and the off week and start preparing for conference with the Mountaineers, again, I say this, and if you know my mom and you know your grandmother, unless she makes it, it's just kind of
just okay.
It's just okay. She lives in Candler, and we're trying to get her to come out here with Janet and I, but she calls Janet, and now they have a week or 2 days a week at least. They're going to Orchard Coffee because my mother, who is not complimentary, and I mean this, of other people's food or drink,
I love
says this is the best place that you can go to, and she speaks highly of it. Chuck, breakfast sandwiches. You want a breakfast sandwich?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, sausage and fried eggs and cheese and pickled onions. Now I'm not an onion guy, but I'll even try theirs. Yogurt and granola, which is more my speed now.
I like it.
Avocado toast, which I now am addicted to, and it's good for me. I can eat toast and it be good for me. So please visit our friends at Orchard Coffee. They're just phenomenal people who love this program, who love this community, and they're like us here. We're kind of in it for life. Mm-hmm. So visit our friends. Chuck, this sip's for you this morning.
Well, thank you.
Because I know you stayed up late getting a lot of things done, and here in just a minute we're gonna talk about some of the things that I do here because to be honest with you, business wise, I put a lot into this football program, and I won't talk about that a little bit. But right now it's open week. I got to rest last night. You didn't, and you didn't, but I did.
Congratulations. I was like, at the end of the night. Whew.
Yeah, you had a long night keeping up with all the scores in the conference and Western North Carolina in general, and keeping us informed, and it's greatly appreciated because that's a lot of work. So anyway, Mountaineer football, open week, 2-2. I would like to spend a minute just kind of going back over and not spending a ton of time on it, but we'll just go back and kind of what got us here. what got us to the open week. I have so many people, Jonathan, that come down here during the week. I get texts, phone calls, and I'm learning all the who the people are, and the people love this program. I've always known that, but it's really the passion that the people have for this program. And now that I'm kind of, on the other side, sitting here, it is unbelievable. And from the youth league to 80 years old, everybody in between. And how for you getting to the open week in year one and getting being about 4 months late getting started, where you at? Where's our program at? Where are you at? How do you feel about where we're at and where you're at in what you're looking for?
Well, I mean, obviously you want to go in here and be 4-0. We're 3 plays away from being 4-0, but that's a big what if type of scenario. So like I've said every week, our kids have bought into the program. I'm pleased where we're at that point. They understand what we do schematically. They understand the standard that we preach as far as in the classroom and the community. So yeah, when it comes to that stuff, I am pleased, but obviously we're never satisfied. We got a long road ahead this season. Starting this week, we go to Franklin. That's never an easy place to play. Let's just call it like it is. They're always good. I don't care what their record is. Franklin's always a tough opponent. So that'll be a good challenge for us going out there and on next Friday. But, at the moment, like I said, I'm okay where we're at because we did play a tough non-conference schedule. And we've been quote unquote battle tested, which is a good thing when we get down to the stretch and got to make a run. That our kids, it won't hit them in the face and not know how to respond. That's a good thing for us.
Chucky.
Yeah, Jonathan, you did play a really with a new coach and a new philosophy. Your kids have bought in. Do you think that your team is improving week by week?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Not just from the football standpoint, but just also from the physical standpoint. Like I told you a few weeks ago, the healthiest you're ever going to be is the first day of practice. So we're improving, getting healthy, as healthy as we can. So that's another positive way to improve. But I mean, I do think we are getting better as kids get more comfortable each day that we're in it. Because things do start to click more the more you get reps, and the only way to get better in a new system is repetition. And we can draw it on the board all day long. We can show them on film all day long. Only way to get better is repetition. So there's a fine line between going out there and doing 800 reps of practice, right, and run them into the ground. So we've got a pretty good grasp on that, I think, of what our happy medium is, so to speak, for practice schedules. With number of reps offensively and defensively, and then on the special team side. So yeah, I do think we're improving. It's just it's a long road. It really is. We're excited for it. The kids are itching to get back on the field for Monday. So we'll take this weekend and let them finish resting up and get ready.
When do you start installing for your next opponent?
I mean, with the players, it'll be Monday.
Got it.
And it's obviously the base of what we do is always in. It's just a matter of what nuances we find and we think we can do. And the good thing is our players know that. But we preach to them, listen, we're allowed to game plan. They're allowed to game plan too. So we always got to try to be prepared for any, random scenario that they bring up when you're playing a good team like Franklin.
Did you enjoy your Friday?
I did.
Where'd you go?
We just went and watched a game. So it was good to be. I will tell you this.
Okay,
it wasn't bad to be. It wasn't bad to be home before 10 o'clock.
But let me say this.
I actually got sleep last night.
Okay, I'm keeping. That's one.
That's right.
That's one. Because I had a customer. Did we talk? I don't know if we talked about that. The customer that stopped in, that said they love the show, but and they love you, and they love Jonathan. They love what we're doing, but they're literally keeping count at home and seeing when you're going to be able to break the CIA thing with Jonathan and get an answer to one of the future questions, because he's brutally honest about things about now and what's happened. But they love the fact that you're not quitting and you're not a quitter.
Right, right. Well, it's a major task. I do let me interject that the Los Angeles Angels are going to have a press conference about the development that Otani's locker has been emptied.
All right, that's slightly more interesting right now. We can throw we got
Are
time.
you serious or are you lying?
No, I just come over my little ticker right here.
We got time.
Okay, so
I got coffee.
Right,
I can pull up the ESPN app real quick. Yeah.
right.
that's not good.
Did you know about that, Jonathan?
No.
Did you get reception from where you were at?
No.
I mean, okay, never mind. But anyhow, no, I just come over that the Angels
That was a good try, by the way, Chuck.
will hold a press conference regarding the development that Otani's locker has been emptied.
That's
Don't
not
know,
good.
if that's surgery, he's gone for the rest of the year. What is it?
Yeah.
Well, he's not going to sign back there. You got to trade him.
Just too late now.
Well, I know, but you should have. You got to get rid of him.
But anyway, let's do this. Let's get back to this before we talk about that. We don't talk about injuries.
Yeah.
But as a group, are we healing up any?
Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, we're the healthiest day you'll ever have is first day of practice. That's for any team at any level until the end of football, because there's always going to be a tweak or a rolled ankle or a hamstring or something. So yeah, I mean, we are healing up. Bye weeks are good for that. I think our bye week came at a really good time right before conference play. So I'm not mad at that. It's just you can't predict. If I could predict the future, I'd have won the lottery 15 times by now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying is like that's the hard part is you can't predict when some of the guys are going to be quote unquote back to normal. But we're not the only team dealing with that.
No,
that's just football. So I think we got enough really good players on our team that understand it's the next man up mindset of if somebody does get tweaked or whatever, hey man, we got to keep going.
Jonathan, it's a unique perspective that you have, and I think you've been trained as a quarterback both in the NFL, college, and also high school by Coach Nolan. But you have the unique ability to let something bad roll off real quick. Is that kind of philosophy transferred to your kids?
I hope so.
But you don't know.
Sure. Well, we preach it all the time. We have if you ask any of the kids, there's a lot of sayings. I got a lot of random things going in my head. And I always try to give them little tidbits, but one of the ones, if you ask them, if you just say how many seconds, they'll go 8. You got 8 seconds and it's over. Good, bad, and different. 8 seconds, it doesn't matter. Touchdown pass, 8 seconds. Interception or fumble or missed block or missed tackle, 8 seconds. Nothing we can do in that exact second can fix, good or bad, what happened. Forget about it, move on. We will correct it in due time. So they have bought into that. But it's, they're still teenagers, and there's still times that we have to really preach that to them because they're teenagers, but they're competitors. So that's a good thing that you have to try to tell them, because I'd rather them care than not care, But I do think that they have bought into that, that mindset of there's nothing we can do about it. God forbid somebody go down. Well, we got to have somebody else play. We can't play with 10. Or if 2 guys go down, we can't play with 9. So that's where they understand that mindset. They do. And same thing on the other side. There's nothing we can do. We can't make that touchdown any quote unquote prettier. Right? We can't block it any better once it's done. We got to forget about it and move on to the next play, on to the next series, on to the next whatever's next in that moment. So yeah, like I said, I hope so, but I think I truly think they have.
Jonathan, there's several different ways you could approach this, but your non-conference schedule's over with. You had a style of coaching during those 4 games. Now you go into the conference, which is vitally more important.
Yeah, because this is where you get seeded for playoffs.
Right. Do you
Make playoffs.
Well, no,
Yeah.
but they seed you off a conference.
Yeah.
but do you change your philosophy once you click non-conference and put that away and you start the conference? Do you change your philosophy for that for the play?
Nope. Like I am who I am.
Right.
You know, our team, we are who we are. We're always going to have tweaks and nuances, and anybody that knows me in the coaching world knows that. But I expect them to as well. You know what I mean? I do. So that's the fun part is it's a chess match. Trying to figure out who's going to move a pawn or who's going to move their bishop or anything like that. Who's going to make that first move, so to speak. That's where it's fun. So no, my philosophy doesn't change. I'm still going to be wildly energetic on the sideline. You know, and we could go down that rabbit hole with referees, but I won't.
No, we're not.
Well, I talked to one last night and said, hey, you know, I've been told to ask you to stay off the field. Well, I've been told by myself to tell your guys to do their job properly. You know, but that's who I am. I'm not going to apologize for who I am. I'm not going to apologize for our team for being who we are. So no, long story short, no, my philosophy doesn't change in that sense. The only thing that changes is what nuances we're going to do each week, depending on who we're playing and how we think they'll adjust. And the next one up is Franklin, and I got the utmost respect for what they do there. Like they've been wildly successful doing what they do there for a long time. So it would be a tough battle. It is. It's always a challenge when you go to Franklin. You're in for a dogfight.
Okay.
So,
That referee that said that to you, is it not the job and the rules to keep all coaches off the field?
oh, hey, that's part of the things I've been preaching.
Why
I'm with you.
should high school officiating point you out to stay off the field? See,
I'll stay silent on this one because there's still a few phone calls I've got to make. I'll say it that way.
You know, if an official made that statement, shame on that official because.
Well, no. It wasn't him. No, this guy's he's awesome.
Okay. All right.
So this one is awesome. Just in general, how he does his job, he's energetic. He understands what happens. And here's the thing, man, we're human. All of us. We're going to miss a call, or I'm going to make a bad call, right? I'm going to call a bad play or whatever. But we got to, if you can't say, I missed that. Like, even on my side, that was a bad play call. I got to do better.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's where, and the one I'm talking about, I won't say his name, but he knows who I'm talking about. He does that. He's phenomenal. I love when he refs our games because I know it's going to be fair and even in every aspect.
Very good.
So
let me take a sip of my by the way, my blend, the mountain blend, this Blue Mountain blend.
Blue Ridge.
Sorry. Blue Ridge, the bag's not with me. At 65, you got to give me a little. I'm close. My bag's getting, I need to get some more supplies.
Oh, we got it coming.
But anyhow.
Conference-wise.
Very good.
Man, the Mountain 7 is a tough conference this year.
What's top? I don't know if there's a bottom half and there's a top half. That top half led by those guys in Mills River. So, I mean, you got 3 or 4 teams that will, you're in a dogfight if you're playing. I think the bottom part, they're building. I mean, they're trying to build, and it takes longer on the high school level because you got to accept that. But I did want to ask a question before I got pulled off on the referee. Jonathan, this is the time on the open week to kind of talk about your JV team. Those kids, JV team, and name names, please, because that is your future. That is your recruiting. That is your development. How's the JV team doing?
Oh, they're doing well. I mean, I don't know the last time a JV team threw for 356 yards in a game. No, against McDowell at home a few weeks ago. So our JV team has done well because, hey, let's call it like it is. They've never ran a spread system like this, 9th or 10th graders, and they've completely surrounded themselves with new information. Excuse me, and dove right in 2 feet, and so that's been fun to watch. We do have some. We've got some work to do. That's part of JV football, right? But I do think for the most part, we're on the right track there. I think Coach McCracken's done a really good job of settling them down and getting them where they need to be. First game's always going to be interesting in a new system with 9th and 10th graders. But after that, I think they settled down and got into a groove of who they are, as far as ratio of run to pass. And it's fun to watch. It's my time to go enjoy. And on Thursdays, obviously, be on the sideline on the headsets, but letting Coach McCracken call the plays to let him get that experience, because that helps us on Friday nights as well and helps him just learn what to look for in football and from the defensive standpoint, when to call timeouts, that type of stuff. I think he's done a great job of that. Then, as far as players, we've got – there's almost too many to name,
right,
without pulling out the roster and going down 75 to 80% of them, with just how well they've done and how much they've bought into what we do, and on all sides of the ball.
How do you take a player like Houston McCracken, who, when he played, was as intense as anybody you'd see at any level? He's like a lightning bolt. Every time he put a hit on somebody, it was crack and pop. He lit people up on the gridiron. How do you take a person with that kind of intensity and kind of bring them into the coaching? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't coach that with that intensity, can you?
Well, no, that's part of what makes you a good coach. The players see that and they feed off of that. They understand you're passionate about what you do, not just going through the motions. You know what I mean? Like, not just, I'm just here to help coach. They enjoy when your coach is energetic and fiery, and honestly, because they know that you're going to go to bat for him. And I think he does that really, really well. Like I said about myself, I am who I am. He is who he is, and that I'm not going to change who somebody is. Like I tell our players, I want you to be yourself within our system. All right, be yourself as a player. Be yourself within the system. If you're if you're an option route runner, then be that option route runner. If you're a deep ball threat, be that deep ball threat. If you're an outside zone running back, those types of things. And as a coach, be yourself within the system. And we haven't had an issue with anybody being outside of our system. We'll say it that way.
That's excellent. David, I apologize, but at 65, when I get something in my head, I got to roll with it.
No, you do your thing.
Okay.
You do your thing.
I'll turn it back to you about going into the conference.
Yeah, and I know that we're not going to get a ton of stuff talking about next week, but I'll say that when you go to Franklin, it was at the pit. Is that what? That's what they.
Yeah.
When you go out there, it's like it's always a old school SEC football game. They slobber knockers and all those terms that people use. They're going to play really hard. They're going to get after it.
Yeah.
And I think back to your senior year, going out there in the rain and in the mud and just beat the hell out of each other for 4 quarters. And the Brooks brothers were on that staff with Coach Goldsmith, and coming from their father and with Coach Goldsmith, I have nothing personally but the utmost respect for Coach Brooks and the program that he runs and the way that they play the game. And I don't, again, I know you're not going to, and I'm not asking, that's Chuck's job to go into the CIA things, but are y'all meeting today? Have you already had your?
Well, no, I mean, we'll meet today because Franklin just played last night, so we'll have the film from East and go from there.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah, all right, Chuck, it's back to you, bud, because I know
No,
you.
we know what Franklin hasn't changed what they run. They don't care if they've known it. They'll come out with fullback, a back down I formation. They'll pretty much play that with a tight end. They are going to be who they are, and that's just you can expect that. But the quality of coaching that the Franklin kids get, we all have this respect for the Brooks brothers. And the uniqueness about high school football is you can't go recruit and replace people. They lost 90% of their people from last year's team, 90% of the production. And they're trying to fill in those holes with kids coming off their JV team or backups. But you can bet on this. So they're going to have a little different performance. But you bet on Franklin going to strap it up and get in your face.
Oh, yeah.
They play.
No, you're right. I mean, they like I said, I've got nothing but the utmost respect for what they do. They've always done what they've done, and they've done it really well for a long time. The old cliche: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? They we know it's going to be a hard fought game. I mean, if you look at their non-conference schedule, they didn't play an easy one, and so their record is not indicative of how good of a team they are. Say it that way.
Johnson, we're all playing. Well, all teams are playing for playoffs. No, this is postseason is going to be affected. Yes, you're going to try and win the conference championship. What are the rules this year? How are they going to judge teams for about seeding? How is that going to work?
That's a 4-hour Zoom call with people in Raleigh for you, I guess, because it.
Yeah, I know.
No, don't get started on Chuck and
I'm just, and the reason why I say it that way is I'm laughing about it because it depends on if you're in a split conference or not, and RPI. Man, all I know is we can control, and that's our attitude, preparation, and effort. So,
very good.
All right, so we're going to Franklin, and that's the only thing on everybody's mind in Waynesville this week. We deal with it. You'll deal with it the next stuff later because I know how you are. So, since we don't have a game to review, and we've kind of talked about what we needed to talk about in the kids and all that good stuff, this is our chance to talk about today, Saturday.
Right.
And I'm going to start with one thing, and it's not going to be Wake Forest, and it's not going to be Colorado, but I am keeping receipts. Is in the swamp tonight.
Yep.
Down in the swamp in Gainesville, Florida. Thoughts?
I think it's the marquee game of the weekend. I think, I there's a lot of great games. It rises almost. It's a little higher than Anderson College at Elma College up in Michigan. But
Kilt up, baby.
That's right. Go Scots. But Tennessee wants to be the big boy. They'll have their chance because they haven't won in the swamp since 2003.
Yep.
This is a great opportunity. Also, they've got to kind of wash away the Austin P game. And if they can come out and play well, this is their opportunity to kind of take that. Haven't won in 2003. What is that, 18 years? 20 years? The fact that if they can do that, that can maybe this can kind of be a springboard for the Volunteers. I think and plus when Tennessee and Florida get together in the parking lot at Walmart, it's a marquee event.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those great games.
No, I agree. Tennessee's got to come out and it's called like it is. They have supposed to have one of the most high-powered offenses in the country. You're playing just call it like it is an average Florida team from what people are used to from Florida, right?
Right.
Just from the history of the University of Florida, it's an average team from what everybody's used to. This is a game. Yes, it's an SEC opponent. Yes, it's a rivalry game. Yes, it's always going to be heated, all that stuff. But if you're wanting to do what you're saying you want to do in Knoxville and compete for a national championship, you come out and you got to make a statement early. Yeah, you got to win the game. Winning a game is 1 point or more, right? But after how last week went we had a lot of drops at receiver. Right now, one of our biggest question marks at Tennessee is the receiving core, just who's going to step up and make the big play? Who's going to step up? And I'm not saying you got to have a 5-touchdown performance like Jalen Hyde did against Alabama. That's not what I'm getting at. But you got to be able to stay on the field on third downs, keep the drive going, and yes, we can score in 30 seconds and all that stuff, but you got to be able to. You got to go out there. If you're going to say we can outscore people, you got to score 50. Because if Utah can go score 30 plus or whatever they did, you got to score 50 because Utah's offense isn't as high powered as Tennessee's. That's not a slight on Utah, but just from what everybody says about high power, right? They can score in blah, blah, blah. They can do this. They can do that. So that's what they have to do. They got to come out early and can't go 3 and outs and expect to come out of this ball game with a win. Can't do that in the first 3 drives.
It wins a football game.
It's also a game between both teams have starting an ex-Big Ten quarterback. They transferred. Kid transferred from Wisconsin to Florida, and then Milton transferred from Michigan to Tennessee.
Yes, Tennessee's got the quarterback advantage. Here's why, though. He fits Tennessee's system better than Florida's system.
Right.
He's not a dual threat zone read runner. He is an under center Wisconsin drop back passer. So that when he transferred there, I was slightly confused on that. So I will say we do have the advantage at quarterback. But if you look at now, obviously I know they played McNeese last week. But Florida can run the piss out of the football. So we got to be able to, and that plays well into the hands of the quarterback they have. So they got to be able to come out here and say, you know what, just like they did last year, we're going to stop the run. And I said this last year. They had to choose. Are we stopping the run or we're going to stop the pass? At that point, Richardson had not thrown a touchdown pass. Let that sink in. And he went 4th overall. Whole different conversation. And they stopped the run. Now, he ended up throwing for 400 yards. But they, at a certain point, you got to pick your poison and say, you're going to beat me one way or the other. Which way are you going to beat me? I think they're going to say, again today, beat me through the air because we're going to stop the run. That's what I would do if I was Tennessee.
Right.
Who wins a football game?
Obviously, I'm going to say Tennessee.
Absolutely.
Boy, this is a tough one. I'm gonna ride the Vols on this one.
Okay. Now, it's a Saturday morning. Since we don't have a game to review and we can talk about some other things, and do you want to see Chuck smile or frown?
Both.
Okay, let me make him smile because we didn't. I was on the road Thursday night and had a business trip, so we didn't have our show. So, go ahead, Chuck. Let it out. Just say it right now because everybody's listening. Say it.
It has been all over the media. I would be rehashing the pundits, the people, the SEC networks even talking about it. The SEC is not the dominant conference that it was many years ago. Reason is that for whatever reason, I can give you the reasons, but it is pretty much on par with the ACC and the Big Ten.
Excuse me, the Big Ten plus 78.
Well, yeah, 78 now. I mean, by the time they get done, they're dumb enough. They're too dumb up in the Big Ten area to call themselves the conference Big 18. What's wrong with the Big 18?
Because when teams leave to go to the SEC.
But I said
I couldn't help it.
You're 1-4 this year. You've had 29 games played so far, and you're 1-4 against the ACC. You're 2-6 against the rest of the Power Five, or against the Power Five. and out of 29 games, that's all you've played is 8 of them have been against Power 5 conferences. You're playing the St. Pius middle schools and
He hasn't slept since last Saturday because he wanted to tell you this.
but do you know why?
Oh, here we go.
No.
It is.
Well, I know, but I'm going to call like it is. No, and this is not in defense of anybody. This is just the way the world now. Look at historically the Pac-12 or the Big 12 or any other conference. It doesn't matter as long as you have a 0 in the loss column. To me, that's unfortunate though. It doesn't matter your strength of schedule. Well, if you got 0 losses, they're going to put you in.
Right.
You can't win it if you're not in. So it took the SEC a while, but they got on board with that, I guess you would say, right? From top to bottom, there's always been some teams, but I know typically like Tennessee didn't really do that. Florida didn't do that much. Alabama always did it before the Iron Bowl, which confused me. Right. But typically from top to bottom, not every team did it like some conferences. Now they're going, well, you know what? We beat up on each other week in, week out. So why don't we play easier non-conference schedules now so we can ensure that we don't have another loss? And then we have an argument. I'm not saying I agree with it.
Right.
I'm just saying that's the way of the world because they're seeing other conferences go, well, like the Big 12, they didn't have a conference championship a couple years or whatever it was. And they're playing whoever. And then you go, oh, well, Oklahoma's in. They're in the national championship or they're this, but their non-conference schedule sucked.
Right.
That's the reason why.
I do have a statement and then a question. I'll do the statement, and that is that I think the transfer portal has hurt the SEC more than any other conference. Every conference has transfers out to other conferences, but I think it's hurt the SEC because you spend so much money, the SEC teams, and effort in recruiting the 5 and the high 4 stars, and you get them, and then within a year or two, you have all the other conferences holding their hand out, going, "Okay, send me your unwanted, send me the disappointed," and that's just the new era of what the athletes are, is that they believe they're the 4 and high 5 stars, and so they get those players without recruiting them, and they try to fit them into the team. The statement or the question I have for Jonathan is, do you think with the expansion of the playoffs, and I don't know the answer, that they will start to change their philosophy on their non-conference schedules?
No.
Okay.
I don't because you got to be in the top 12. You know what I mean? Even with 12, it's if you think about it, it's really tough to pick the 12. Teams just got to be in it. So the teams that, let's say it's a non-Power 5 school, say it's a Group of 5 school.
Right.
Well, they know for them to get into the top 12, they've got to be almost undefeated, if not undefeated. No more than 1 loss. So what are they going to do? Okay, well they're not going to play Power 5 non-conference opponents. All right, typically. So what's the Power 5 going to do? Well, they're going to go, we don't want to get slighted. So I just think the non-conference schedule ordeal is here to stay in that sense. But also if you think about it from a different side, with the COVID year that happened for every current athlete, not giving extra scholarships for it really hurt high school kids coming out. So where do they end up going? They end up Power 5s end up at Group of 5 end up at FCS, and on down the line. So the talent pool, and with the transfer portal, the talent pool is starting to even out a little more. I'm not saying it's ever going to be equal, but it went from here to there.
Right.
That's where I think teams are trying to, in their head, justify it. I was saying, well, they got a lot better talent than they used to, because now we can't stack 4 deep at whatever position because the kids will leave after a year.
online of the transfer, I find one game to be very interesting, intriguing game is Alabama going to South Florida. In looking at the depth chart of South Florida, 7 players on their offense and 7 players on their defense are transfers, and they have been playing in college football for more than 3 years or more. So that's a veteran team that they have gotten. I don't know how good they are, but it would be intriguing to me to see how Alabama responds again, because Alabama's sort of young. They're having this. They got 19-year-old, around the 19, close to 20-year-old players. They're good, but they're still 19 and 20.
But here's Alabama's advantage.
Okay,
Who's their quarterback now?
that's a good point.
No, Buckner.
Buckner.
Who's their offensive coordinator?
Buckner's Tommy Reese.
They were both at Notre Dame together.
Right.
So that helps their case.
Got it.
Is at least he's not having to learn a new system, right? He already at least knows, so he'll be that veteran presence in the huddle. He got all last year experience, right? Going through the ups and downs with Reese, their OC, in games, and then now at Alabama. So I think that helps Alabama's case. Just from the down the road standpoint, because it's not a brand new quarterback. Like, he's never played in a game. Now, obviously, he's not played in SEC games. That's not a slight on Notre Dame. But Notre Dame's schedule is not an Alabama schedule.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Agreed.
That's just what it is. Playing in certain stadiums is not playing in the SEC. It's not playing in Tiger Stadium or Neyland Stadium or anywhere like that. Going to Auburn, going to Florida, it's not like going to, I'm not going to call schools out, but you know what I'm saying.
Right. I do.
Well, yeah, I was going to go somewhere, but I don't know that we want to go there in this format. That's kind of a Tuesday and Thursday thing.
Right.
Colorado. You can't talk about college football right now without talking about Colorado. And I sent you a text yesterday because since this started, I've been saying, hey man, look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Right.
And this is, I don't agree with the way that they have to get there. With all the I don't like the way that they can do the transfers, and you look at a kid and say, I'm sorry, you got to go, and all that good stuff. But they're there. And they've played 2 mediocre football teams and played pretty well against them. Defensively, I think they're a work in progress still. But look, I get it it's just kind of like here. Sometimes people overlook the kids a little bit here because they're going, hey, Johnny's here. And you're working real hard to make the focus on our kids. Dion has all the focus on him, and sometimes it's okay to be humble. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, the guy at Colorado State, that maybe wasn't the smartest thing that he
was
did
not the smartest thing he's ever
during
done
his show.
Right.
But again, I can't tell people how to act, but just Dion's response to the guy, and then his kid, who's the quarterback, saying, "Man, he shouldn't have done that."
Well, you know what?
I'm
with you, but see, I'm on the other side of that.
Okay.
But not in a bad way. It's just a simple fact of why can one side voice their opinion but not both? No.
Okay.
No, I'm with you. I'm just saying, like, where people get mad at, hey, listen, like him or hate him.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
not going anywhere.
Like him or hate him, Dion, he's honest. And here's what people don't realize about him saying, hey, you might want to pack your bags and go, right? Scholarships are only year to year. They're not 4 years. They're year to year, and they're allowed to terminate your scholarship for any reason every year. So at least, from some standpoints, at least he told him in January and not June. He gave him a whole semester to find a transfer home, right? There's always that other side to it of, I've seen what they've done to kids and not allowed them to transfer. I've seen offensive linemen try to transfer and the head coach go, not going to do it. At least Dion said, hey, man, you might want to find you a new home. Now, some people take his flashiness and his very honest way about it as rude. But you know what? He was honest with them. Sometimes honesty is not what people want, because sometimes honesty does hurt your feelings.
Right.
He's not, you can tell he's not trying to hurt your feelings. He just is who he is. He told the kids, hey, man, guys, y'all, no offense, you were 1-11, but not for 1 year. Like, historically, Colorado's not been overly great, right? But the kids want to play for him, and like he told every kid that wants to be there. Heck, there's one scholarship player that had the balls to stay. He's a starter because he earned his way.
That's good.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm getting. The reason why people want to go play for him is he's the only coach that I know of that's just at least public about it, that says, if you come here and you work your butt off, I'll make sure you get paid by NIL. You'll earn money here if you come, but not just to come here. You got to come and work your butt off, and then I'll make sure you get the publicity you need, and you'll make some money. I'm not going to get you here with NIL deals.
Right.
And so he at least is about working your rear end off at the same time.
I think the situation is common just right here on this studio right here. Is we're two old men, your dad and I, and we grew up with the old age coaches that you don't give bulletin board and criticize and that kind of stuff. That was the way we cut our teeth on.
Oh, I don't disagree.
No, I mean, and you grew up without it. Now we're having the new age is what you just described about Dion. So it's like both sides are having to calm down and just kind of look and say, okay, it all can work together. You can be a coach of the old age. You still can be that coach where Dave Clawson's one. Just take Dave Clawson and Deion Sanders. There's two philosophies, how they talk about the people.
Yep.
And Dave Clawson is that very well-spoken executive that's not flashy. He doesn't.
Both ways can get it done.
Exactly. That's the simplified way of saying it. Yes.
Yeah, and they can. I'm just going with the fact of, in today's world, whether people like it or not, the transfer portal is not going anywhere. Same thing with the NIL deals. Like, I used and how I justify in my head is, you can't go from 0 to 1 million,
right,
and then back it up to 1,000. You know what I'm saying? You can't go to there and then go, oh, we're going to retract it here, because the kids that are from there to there are going to go, well, I'm not giving up my deals. I think they went a little too quick, a little too far, a little too quick.
Right.
I do think the NCAA needs to get their stuff together on this transfer stuff, because like the kid in North Carolina, that's BS. All like it is.
Well,
that is BS, but they're going to stick their heel in the sand. And y'all two have been saying this for a long time in our group chat. The NCAA is on its way down. Let's just call that like it is.
Right.
Because they're digging their heels in the sand for the wrong reasons at the moment. You know what I mean? And I guess there's that cliche. They chose that hill they're willing to die on. And they probably chose the wrong one, because when ESPN analysts are coming and calling you out about how unfair it is to not let that one kid play at North Carolina, right? Because he had to transfer because of COVID and all this stuff. But then you're going to give a kid a 7th year of eligibility? Or let's go a step further and go with NIL deals. I think kids should be able to get paid. Now, I think what they're getting paid is a little too much. And I've been open about that. But a young lady from University of North Carolina makes it to the quarterfinals in the Women's U.S. Open in tennis. And they refuse to let her take her prize money of $81,000. But yet we got some kids playing football that can drive Lamborghinis. I don't understand how you can justify those two. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think they chose the wrong hill, is what I'm getting at. That's just my opinion. So now people are trying to deflect those conversations to people like Dion that are just very outgoing. Hey, I think and I know y'all are going to totally disagree. I think it's hilarious that his gift to everybody was a pair of sunglasses. I think that's funny. I do.
I think it's classy. I don't disagree with that at all. I think it's the flash of prime, and he's marketing well, but he's also producing behind it.
Well,
I
you
never
know,
expected it. I was completely off on.
I just thought it was hilarious.
well, football wise, strictly,
Right.
he has hired again.
He's got a good staff around
He's
him.
got one of the top 2 or 3 staffs in the country.
Yeah.
And he's letting them coach.
Yep.
And the kids have bought in.
100%.
Football wise, and if you don't work, you are not going to play there. And I get that.
Yep.
But I also go back and say, hey, sometimes it's good to look in the mirror and go, man, I probably shouldn't say that. And that's the one thing that I disagree with him on.
But
He just doesn't.
But here's my question: What does he say? Honestly, what does he say that it's upsetting? Because he doesn't cuss.
No.
He doesn't cuss the kids out.
No.
He's very honest with them about you better work your butt off. You better work harder, or you're going to get beat. You're not going to play this and this. He has their back. So what? I'm curious, genuinely,
Okay.
what's so bad that he said
stuff about like keeping receipts because and again, this is a Saturday morning show, so I'm going to use big boy language. Okay. When he gets his teeth kicked in by Southern Cal, when he gets his teeth kicked in by Oregon,
You think? Hold on. You think Southern Cal can stop his offense?
I think
Southern
that
Cal's defense sucks.
listen to me though, and I can't believe, and I know John Taylor's watching this morning. I can't believe, Chuck, that I'm fixing to say this. The number 1 conference in America today, in week 3 starting, is the dead Pac-12.
Okay,
You're right.
You're right.
No, hold on. Is the Pac-12? Southern Cal has a legitimate chance to be in the playoffs. Oregon has a legitimate chance to be in the playoffs. The Washington Huskies have a legitimate chance to be in the playoffs.
I'm with you, but watch this.
Oregon State is really good.
Okay, hold on. You're good. But what is the only team anybody talks about out of the Pac-12? Nobody watches their games. They watch Colorado.
Yeah, correct.
See my point?
But when
the reason,
but the
it's okay. What about Southern Cal losing to Tulane last year? They did.
Oh yeah, of course.
Southern Cal's defense. So he ain't gonna get his teeth kicked in. Hell, his son, the first game of the year, he breaks the school record for 510 yards. You think Southern Cal's defense is good? No. Now their offense can score on anybody. That's a whole different. So it might be a 72-71 ball game, but Southern Cal's defense can't stop people. That's just no. Am I wrong?
Go ahead, Chuck.
The best team in the Pac-12 is Washington.
I'm enjoying stirring the pot and letting.
No, I'm just saying, but from a total team standpoint, the best team is Washington. Offense, defense, special teams.
Right.
But Southern Cal may have the best offense, but they have probably the number 11 defense in the Pac-12.
Right.
And I mean, that's pure statistics.
All right, go ahead, Chuck.
Well, on Colorado, they have they shocked the world and proved everybody, proved most of the people, including me, wrong on the first game. Then they came back and was okay. That was game 1. They came back and they did just just outplayed Nebraska, and so that's 2-0. And they got into the top 16. When are we going to start believing in Colorado? People like me around, when are you going to start believing in Colorado? I have jumped after 2-0. I'm on that Colorado bandwagon.
I'm not saying they're going to go 12-0. That's not what I'm getting at. You know how many teams have ever went 15-0? 2.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So the odds are stacked against them.
And they what conference were they from?
Well, one was ACC, one was SEC.
Okay, well.
But what I'm getting at is,
the ACC one doesn't count because they didn't play anybody.
Exactly. But the odds are stacked against them to actually go undefeated. They're going to lose a ball game.
Yeah.
But watch how their team responds versus how any other team responds when they do get beat. I can almost guarantee you it's in the right way because he's going to hold them accountable. He is. Yes, he's flashy. But guess what he played in football? Cornerback. Who are the most flashy people on the field? Cornerbacks. Do you know what? And I'm quoting Deion Sanders here. You know what makes the best cornerback in the world? The best gambler. because you got to know when to jump a route and when not to jump a route, because you have to guess right on certain routes to jump to get a pick six. So he's lived his life that way on the football field. Well, what do these kids see? And I'm just going to call a spade here, and people can get upset. I'm going to be politically correct about it. Would you rather go play for a coach that has been there and done it and has your kids back, rather than a guy that's never really played and that just can hold a piece of paper and read analytics?
Right.
I know what I'm doing. If
Right.
I'm a teenager nowadays, I want to go with somebody that's been in the trenches.
But I think, Jonathan, that's a valid point, and it's so true. You're accurate. But he can only sign those kids once a year, around 20 to 25 kids.
Exactly.
So he's not going to spend time recruiting kids that are not coming to Colorado. And his closure rate may be so high that he could probably recruit 30 kids or 40 kids in total and get the ones he wants. But you're right on that, is about where do the kids want to play? And the kids want to play for him.
They want to play for him because, like I said, he's honest with them. He's told them, I'm not going to get you here with an NIL deal. It's not what I do. But if you come here and you work your butt off, I will get you NIL deal money.
Right.
But one more thing before we get back, and we're going to get ready for Franklin, and we're going to get off here today, and then we'll have we always have, folks, you should be here after the show for about 10 minutes. That's when it's really great conversation.
When the heated conversation.
Great conversation. But now I got the COVID brain. What? Help me out, John. It was really important. It was really awesome that what I was fixing to say. When you're 61 and have the COVID brain, this is what happens in front of people.
You're gonna move on to another college game.
Well, we're gonna get off here in just a second because we've got so much. We got about 4 minutes left. So if I think about it, I'll come back.
Let me do this. Is that in the Mountain 7 conference last night? For those of you that don't know the scores, the Smoky Mountain lost last night 16-7. This is the Jonathan Crompton show. So, under the principal's rule, that school on the other side of the county beat Smoky 16-7. West Henderson and North Henderson, battle of undefeateds. West Henderson 55, North Henderson 16. And then Franklin got their first win of the season at home against East Henderson, beating the Eagles 24-8. Both guys, West Henderson, your former school where you've been at as an offensive coordinator, they're just a juggernaut right now.
Yeah, they're playing well. For me at the moment, I'm just focused on Franklin. So
right.
That's the biggest thing, is focusing on ourselves here at Tuscola and making sure that we're ready for the next opponent on our schedule, which is, like I said, at Franklin this coming Friday.
Let me ask you this, because I get the coolest questions now. People ask me things like what time, because I think people now, they want to start following the bus. Like, what time are you guys?
It depends on Friday.
You don't know exactly what time you're going to be pulling out of the parking lot.
No, okay. It depends on traffic that Friday.
Okay, now it's a road game, so we're not going to have the tailgate down here, because I learned my lesson the hard way, because I'm going to be at the stadium at like noon, because, kickoff is at 7:30, so you got to be there early. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like Chuck taking Angie to the Wake Forest game. They got a 7:00 kickoff. He's in the parking lot at 10 in the morning because you can't be late.
You got to be ready. You got to get your parking spot.
You got to see warm-ups.
Yeah, she's asking that question, and why are we here now?
Yeah.
The better question is, why not?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That short walk.
Exactly. You'll thank me later.
Exactly.
And I just want to say real quick that just from the outside looking in to the bye week, and the kids they're playing their tail off, but the administration that is surrounding you, every time I'm at that stadium, or even when I see them in passing, man, that school is headed in the right direction.
Oh yeah,
and more than football.
Yep.
A heck of a lot more than football. All the other sports programs, you guys have the proper color. now that you, and I mean, you're headed in the right direction academically,
Yep.
and it all starts with the man up top. And man, do we have a phenomenal guy in that office in there.
No, I agree.
So
Totally.
So we need to travel well Friday. Everybody needs to get over. We're playing at home Thursday.
Yes.
What time is kickoff for the JV game?
7.
7:00 kickoff for the JVs. And if you want to see some kids get after it, and you want to see some exciting football, get your tail to CE Weatherby Thursday night. Kickoff at 7. That means you need to be there no later than 5.
Yeah.
You have to be there early. Thank our friends at Orchard Coffee. Chuck and I will be back Tuesday night to break down everything in detail, and it gets real from here on out. Mm-hmm. And Coach Matthews, we saw you, we missed you. Coach Matthews had his grandson up here from Florida, so his priorities are in order, and we love Coach Matthews and everybody that responds to us on here. Chuck, you got anything to say before we get back here on Tuesday night with the David and Chuck Show?
No, I'm ready to go. This is why I don't like the open weeks, because it kind of cuts us off, and then we have to digress into different areas. But I like talking about Friday night games on Saturday.
I love it. And then let me ask you this before we go, or let me say this to you. There are many people out there watching right now. Please ask a question. Please ask a probing, detailed question before we get off here, Mr. Fiebernitz, if you can.
Well, I mean, I knew there was a lot of traffic. I just wanted to know, was on your way over to the school that you went to last night, was it a traffic jam?
There's always traffic. We live in Western North Carolina.
Was it a short drive or a long drive?
Everywhere you go is a long drive now. There's always traffic.
This is what I deal with.
There are many people.
You could go from one side of the parking lot to the other and hit traffic nowadays.
There are many people eating breakfast right now, watching this show, that are literally going, "He's going to get him. He's going to get him. He's going to get him."
I will get him today. And just to watch game day in Colorado, we just talked about the Buffs. Game days in Colorado, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is there also. So it's going to be.
I wonder if they're all wearing sunglasses.
John,
to me that would be the ultimate. Like if they all had sunglasses on when they open. Oh my God, that'd be hilarious.
Hey, Jonathan, you got a pair of nice sunglasses.
Well, I have a light sensitivity. Like I'll get migraines like that, so I have to wear sunglasses everywhere I go. I mean, honestly, or I will get a migraine in a heartbeat.
Hey, cowboy hat, sunglasses.
I don't know about the cowboy hat though.
No,
baseball hat.
Kim, thank you, because I promise you, Chuck will not stop. Thank you, Kim. He will keep digging. He will keep digging. He will keep digging, and he's got the question out there that he'll get the answer to. Jonathan just doesn't know it. So we'll see everybody Tuesday night. Everybody prepare to get to Franklin. We need to travel well because they are going to have their side packed. We need to travel well. Everybody get there Thursday night. Support the JV team.
Yep.
And go Mountaineers. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the David and Chuck Show Tuesday. Chuck, don't go anywhere.
All right.
Does that say end?